Welcome to episode 38 of the Bulls Recap Podcast. I'm Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. You could obviously read me in the Sun-Times. You could follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at @JCowleyHoops. Again, we are in August, the dead dog days of the NBA. But there was an interesting article that I saw, I believe it was ESPN. They ranked their top 10 sophomore players, second-year players, that they feel could be breakouts in the 25-26 season. And, of course, Matas Buzelis, the Bulls' wonder boy, was number 4. Let me just tell you something about what's going on with the Bulls and Matas. First of all, the NBA, with the Bulls' approval, sent him to the NBA Finals as a correspondent back in June. In May, for the draft lottery, they marched Matas Buzelis out as their horseshoe lucky charm. Even this week, they unveiled the old school, new school red pinstripes from the MJ days, the jersey that they're going to wear this year. And the models were obviously Dennis Rodman, who has rebuilt the relationship with the organization, thanks to Matt Yaub. You have Kobe White, and you have Matas. So this is not all coincidence, okay? Matas is becoming the face of this franchise, and they are hoping that the game backs up how much time and how much face time and how much camera time they are giving him. So I wanted to go through this list and talk about what I thought was right and where I thought they missed the boat, especially when it comes to Matas. So number 10, Nikola Topic. I have no problem with him. Obviously, he blew out his knee, missed all of last season for the champions, the current champions, OKC Thunder. Summer League, dude showed out. He's like, okay, he's a playmaker. He's got a little bit of everything. We could see why he was a first-round pick for them and basically took a redshirt season. Could be a huge addition to an already stacked young lineup. So I have no problem with that. I'd probably even bump him up. Jared McCain, Philly, again, no problem. He was on pace for Rookie of the Year. Has I think it was a meniscus, torn the meniscus, missed rest of the season. Philly kind of hit the wall after that. Jalen Wells, Memphis. I get that. Memphis is with Ja and the uncertainty of him always with injury and just stupidity. You have to have something else. And, Jackson is what he is. Great defensive guy, big and stuff like that. But I have no problem with that. Khalil Ware, I like this pick too. Miami. I will say there's a little bit of a warning sign that Spoelstra said he has to start acting a little more professional. That tells me that he has not embraced heat culture and the work that goes into heat culture. So that'll be interesting to see how he embraces that and understands that this is, the knock on him coming out of college was not always a high motor guy. That doesn't jive well in Miami. Alex Sarr, Washington. I like Sarr. I'd bump him up even higher. I think he can, as he showed in Summer League, I think he could be a rim protector. I think he is figuring out how the skill set works with his body. And I really like him a lot. Donovan Clingan didn't understand this at all. Hanson Yang is coming. So there is pressure on Clingan to show that it was not a wasted first-round draft pick. If the young kid could come in and not only add a presence at the rim like Clingan did and was supposed to do at a little higher effort or level. But if Hanson could come in and show that he is a playmaker, scorer, it's going to be tough to put those two in together at the same time. We had Sean Hyken, who's covering the Trailblazers right now. We had him on a couple weeks ago on the podcast, and he talked about that. It's not a situation where you look to play those two at this time, at the same time. So Clingan, I'd back him up. And they had Matas 4th. Matas should be number 1, and I'm going to tell you why. Number 3 is Zachary Rishishar for Atlanta. Number 2 was Stephon Castle from the Spurs. Number 1 was Reed Shepherd from Houston. All good picks because all of those guys can pop. But here's the situation. This is the point of this is who could have like a breakout sophomore year. And those guys can all break out. But those guys, those three guys in front of Matas, they're bit players. They are secondary players on that roster. Atlanta, this is still a Trae Young show. And then they added Kristaps Porzingis. They still have the two defensive guys. Rishishar is almost an afterthought. I mean, he showed some signs last year, but there was not a lot of buzz. Castle, I would say, okay, he should be number one. But when you look at what the Spurs did the other day, they extend De'Aaron Fox. That tells me that De'Aaron Fox is not the movable piece that it felt like he could be. Dylan Harper, their first-round pick, second overall. This dude's coming. There's a good chance that Castle, unless they want to go with three guards, Castle could be a small forward. But unless they want to go with a three-guard attack, which they very well could, Castle could be a reserve. I mean, how excited do you get with the reserve for a young and up-and-coming team that has Wemby and Fox and now Dylan Harper? So that's the Harper-Castle thing is going to be interesting. That's why I would not put Castle ahead of Matas. And then Reed Shepherd, I think Reed Shepherd is a guy you buy it's a low stock that you buy right now because I think he's going to be really, really good. The problem is, again, look at his roster. They added Kevin Durant, and there's high expectations for this Houston. Thompson, Sengun, Van Fleet. This team, I mean, he's almost an afterthought that, again, could be coming off the bench. Maybe he pops in that 2 spot, and starts. But Matas has a chance within 2 years. Again, we'll figure out how the roster construction plays out for the Bulls. But I kid you not, Matas Buzelis has a chance within 2 seasons to be the best player on this roster and to be one of the better all-around players in the East. And I'm going to tell you why. You don't make 6'10 guys that have ball handling, athleticism like that, a steadily improving three-point shot. Now we'll see what that's like with Patton fired because, that was his sensei. That was his Mr. Miyagi, and he swore on Patton and the work that Patton put in with his jump shot. So we'll see how that if that's it. But rebounding ability, and then the other side of it, his ability to be a wing defender, guard multiple positions. I mean, if he gets switched out on a one, especially a bigger one, Halliburton, someone like that, the Bulls are not concerned at all in that scenario. Fine, you want to switch and you want to try to attack Matas with your point guard, we're good because of his footwork, his athleticism, the rim protection he brings. So I understand why they are marching this kid out because, A, his personality is starting to really just kind of bud and grow. His first couple months, you talk about media encounters and just awkwardness. He was one of those guys. Again, he was 19 years old. He would just cut off a sentence and you didn't know if the interview was over. He would just stop talking and almost mid-word, and you'd be like, oh, okay, I guess he's done. Summer League, I had a chance to interview him and got him one-on-one. I mean, we're talking Lauri Markkanen made a big jump in the way he dealt with the media, really dry sense of humor, funny. Matas doesn't have that dry sense of humor. His is more in your face but really starting to the PR staff has done a great job of getting him to understand the importance of dealing with the media, both local and national. So I think he's really going to flourish there, and that helps. That kind of stuff helps. The other thing, too, that I think I've seen young players with the Bulls that have said the right things. I want to be great. Pat Williams said that. Still says it. I mean, all kind of guys say it. Are you willing to put in the work to be great? I've seen 3 guys so far that I covered as rookie, and I saw them put in that work. One took a little longer than the others, but one was Jimmy Butler. 2, Kobe White. And Kobe, we didn't see coming because it took a couple of years. Then all of a sudden, it was almost like something clicked with him where he understood it's no longer about using the summer to work on the things I'm already good at. It's about using the summer to work on the things that I'm bad at. And he has shown every step of the way that he has fixed flaws. And I'm anxious to see what he does with defense, because he still is going to be somewhat hunted out. And I want to see what he does with that. But as far as the physicality on defense, he addressed that. And the third, so far, it's early, is Matas, because season ended, his ass was right in the weight room. You could definitely tell the way he's built. I mean, he can put on more, but you can see that he was in the weight room. He doesn't look like Canseco, but he doesn't look like 19-year-old skinny, scrawny Matas either. Played behind that strength and muscle added. Not only when the team gathered in Los Angeles, when Ayo Dosunmu came on this very podcast and said he was unstoppable in LA, but then we go to Summer League, and it was funny because some people were critical of his Summer League performances, where he is there purposely trying to work on one facet that they wanted him to work on, and that was rebound, be a ball handler, and push the ball up the floor. And I thought game one he did that. Game two he said, okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm also going to show that I can score. And I think he had a 30-plus game. So I think he checked all the boxes. And then from the people I've talked to, right after Summer League, again, he didn't have to play in Summer League, wanted to, because he had put in enough minutes during the NBA season where you could say, do we really need me to work in Summer League? But then right after Summer League ended, from the people I talked to, right back in the lab, right back in the weight room. He talks about wanting to be great, and so far he's doing everything he can to be great. He asks a lot of questions of veterans. He talks to guys, even at the NBA Finals. His interview with Alex Caruso, the thing he talked about was chasing greatness and chasing being an elite player. So I think he's a sponge in that way. So, I mean, the sky's the limit for a guy that has that size, that kind of guard-like ball handling. We're going to see where the vision is and pushing the ball up the floor. But he used to be a guard in high school, so I think it's all going to be there. So, I like the list. It's fun, but I think Matas could easily be number one on this list for the reasons I talked about, because there's roster uncertainty still. I do think the Josh Giddey thing is going to get done. I do think Josh Giddey is considered a future guard of the Bulls. That doesn't mean Josh Giddey is going to be the best player on this roster by any means. Kobe White, who knows? Everyone else after that, I think the only guy they can lock in and write down on the depth chart and say, this guy is the next 5 years, this guy is wearing a Bulls roster, is Matas. That's the only guy. And rightfully so. He has the game to back that up. So this summer has been very purposeful as far as the Bulls marching him out as much as possible, putting him on posters, putting him on, I guarantee when they do the schedule release, he's going to be on there. I'm anxious to see what the Bulls media guide is going to look like. Maybe Matas is on the cover of that. Second team all rookie and everything he did. They're smart. They're not putting Pat Williams out there right now. They know the taste that would put in the fan base mouth right now. So, and this saves the Arturas Karnisovas / Mark Eversley front office. If Matas pops and can become an all-star, which I think he definitely can become in 2 years. I mean, this is going to be a huge year, but I think when this is where you announce, I'm here, year 3, you become an all-star. I think that's all. I think that's very realistic as far as what this kid can do. But if he can do that, you don't think Arturas and Mark Eversley say, forget the Pat thing. Look what we did here. Dalen Terry, we're still not. Look what we did here. You go right down the list. I mean, this guy saves what has been some suspicious drafting by this front office. So I'm excited about Matas Buzelis. I'm excited about what he could become. I haven't been excited about a Bulls player like this in quite some time, I will admit. There's something there, and it's, it's more than just really good player who could have been the first overall pick and of that draft class. I think this guy is special. So keep an eye on how the rest of the summer goes, how they're marching him out there, because it is done with purpose, because I think they feel they know they have something a little different and a little special coming. So that has to be addressed. All right, let's go to Cowley Island, the rant. It's not going to be I don't want to kill the kid. I think he's still only 18 or 19, Noah Essen gay. And I've already gone out right after Summer League and said, yeah, he had some moments, but more awkwardness than moments. Just talked to someone the other day. That hasn't changed. He's working out. He's putting in the time. He's in the gym. It's going to be a project. Preseason will be interesting, but I think don't be surprised if he's out at Hoffman Estates playing G League games more often than he is in the big city playing in real NBA games. It's going to be tough unless there's a major roster change, a big trade, which no one foresees at this point in the ball game. Maybe come February things change, but the start of the season is going to be very, very painful for Noah fans that think he should be getting playing time. This isn't Matas is way ahead of where Noah was physically, mentally, understanding the speed of the game. And I'm not saying that Matas came out of G League Ignite and was like, whoa. But let's go back to Matas and the growing pains. His first month of the season, I think it was only 6 or 7 games. I think he was just under 6 minutes per game. This is a guy who had a lot more skill, and there were less wings to compete against than Noah has now. He got a DNP, coach's decision, first game of November. And people were getting angry, and then slowly the minutes loosened. By February, he became the starter, but he had to earn it. I don't think Noah is anywhere near that path. And for the Noah fans that look and say, well, look at his last 2 summer league games. He flashed. He showed, rebounding. He knocked down a couple threes. He also airballed a handful of threes. So, yes, be patient. And I don't mean to sound like Arturas, but let's curb the excitement with this guy, because from the people I've talked to, there is still some real awkwardness around this kid. As the summer comes along, and we're already into August, and camp's probably about 7 weeks away. Let's relax on him. Relax. And finally, the list. So ESPN did their sophomores ready for a breakout. I was thinking about this rookie class, and to me, these are the rookies that have the most pressure on them to perform. Cooper Flagg is in an ideal situation. Once Kyrie gets back, they have AD. There's pressure because you're the number one overall pick, and I think he's going to be one of the faces of the NBA within 3 years. But he's not coming in a pressure cooker. These are the guys that I think have the most pressure on him. Number 5, VJ Edgecombe from Philadelphia. I don't know how they're going to work this with him. First of all, they need Embiid to be healthy. There's questions about that with the knee. Maxey McCain are both, if the ball's not going through Joel, it's going to go through one of them. So how does VJ Edgecombe pop? He's going to have to do it defensively, locking guys down, getting steals, getting out in transition because of his athleticism, and he's going to have to get things on the offensive end on his own ass-breaking hustle, meaning putbacks, grab rebounds, offensive rebound, use the athleticism to attack the rim and grab other people's misses. So there's going to be pressure on him to see exactly how he fits in there. Number 4, Hanson Yang, Portland. You would think a guy who was projected to be a second-round pick and was in shorts and a T-shirt when he was selected in the first round and had to come from the audience because he didn't think he'd be picked till day 2 would be operating with no pressure. But let me tell you, there's going to be all kind of eyes on him and not just American eyes. When you're coming from China, which is a basketball starved, and we saw it with Yao Ming, Portland games are going to be streamed and watched under a microscope. So just with that, there's a lot of pressure on you. So I have him 4. Number 3, Dylan Harper, because I don't understand what San Antonio is going to do. I want to see if they are going to go with this kind of 3-guard / 2-guard small forward, because Harper and Castle are both bigger guards / smaller forwards. So it could work, but I'm anxious to see how it goes. Agor Den from Brooklyn. I think number 8 overall. I liked him. I said he was going to climb up into the top 10 months ago on this podcast, and he did. There were scouts that were saying that teams really love this kid. Brooklyn is rebooting a lot of things and blowing up a lot of things with the 5 draft picks they had from this past June. This guy has to be the face of that change. So there's a lot of pressure. And number 1, Ace Bailey. Didn't want to be in Utah, wanted to be elsewhere, went to Utah, feels more like a hostage than a volunteer. Can he accept the fact that he's in Salt Lake City? Can he accept the fact that at 6'10" and his skill set, that he'll put the motor behind that and show Jazz fans that he can be not only a happy camper, he can back up that elite talent that he flashes. Because at the end of the day, here's the thing I always fall back on. Rutgers had Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, and something wasn't right there. Something wasn't right. When you can't even appear in the NCAA tournament and you have 2 players that are selected that high, that kind of tells me something's not right with at least one of them. So I'm anxious to see what he does. The honorable mention in this is Con Knipple, and the only reason I have Con Knipple as an honorable mention, Charlotte needs to start being serious about NBA basketball. I think they've taken some steps to that, but it starts with an adult in the room, and I think Con Knipple's an adult in the room and could help balance out LaMelo Ball and teach him that it's not about the LaMelo show anymore, that it's about starting to play winning basketball. I think Knipple can do that. So that's why I have him as an honorable mention with the pressure going in with this rookie class. But Ace Bailey, we'll see you in the fall, my man. So until next week, I got next.